Good morning. Welcome to Stoughton High School's virtual portion of the high school graduation. Due to COVID-19, we are holding our speeches and awards virtually, and graduates will then report later today for a drive-up diploma processional. The national anthem will be sung by Alexia Thomas, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Beyoncé Janvier.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please welcome Ms. Miller, Principal, to the podium.
Good morning, Superintendent Dr. Marcus, Deputy Superintendent Mr. Ford, honorable members of the school committee, administrators, members of the faculty, proud parents and guests, and above all, the graduates of the class of 2020. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 151st Stoughton High School commencement and our first ever virtual graduation ceremony. Today, as we celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2020 from a distance and in a manner we never conceived of prior to March, we know that with graduation comes questions, worries, and dreams about what the days ahead hold for each of you. This is particularly true this year as we face unprecedented times. The future seems uncertain. What advice might one give in a moment like this? In preparing for today, I couldn't help but reflect on the past few months, a time when you should have been with friends living your best life. Rather, you found yourself watching the final chapter of your high school career end abruptly, robbing you of those things you have been looking forward to for years. The phrase hindsight is 20/20 continued to invade my thoughts. They say hindsight is always 20/20 because things become obvious after moving through a situation that previously were not. Prior to the pandemic, it was easy to take things for granted. Certainly, we never envisioned that in 21st century America, there would ever come a time where we wouldn't be able to come and go as we choose, that we wouldn't be able to go shopping or to the movies, hang out with friends and family, attend school, or watch a basketball game. Prior to the closure, life was moving fast, and sadly, the things that were truly important were often lost or not given the time they deserved. These months have been difficult, but in living through it, hindsight is in fact 20/20. In hindsight, we learn to slow down. Not everything is a race. It's okay to take some time for yourself, to take a walk, ride a bike, read a book, or take a nap. The world will go on. In hindsight, we learn not to put off to tomorrow what we can do today. Waiting or procrastinating could find you without a roll of toilet paper. In hindsight, we are reminded to give our time to those things that matter rather than wasting time on things that don't. We need to put down our phones and instead take the time to visit and talk with our family, our friends, and our loved ones. Enjoy their company, appreciate them. In hindsight, it's important that we don't lose our sense of humor or take ourselves too seriously. We must laugh often. It is the best medicine. These have been strange times, but it reminds us to not take the people in our lives or the things we have for granted. In learning from this, we may actually find our lives more enriched, more focused, more fulfilled, and more content. What I hope for you is that you will recognize in yourself that even in uncertain times, you have what it takes to succeed. I've watched you grow and mature over the past 4 years, and I know you are brave, you are wise, you are kind, you are compassionate, you are creative. You have endured and persevered. So whatever the future holds for you, face it with confidence and 20/20 vision. It has been my distinct pleasure to have walked this part of your journey with you. And now is the time we encourage you to step out boldly into your future and eagerly await to hear of your forward steps. Congratulations. Please welcome Jasmine Cam Lee, President of the Senior Class, to the podium.
Good afternoon, class of 2020. I'm honored to be here today on your computer screens to celebrate our 4 years at Stoughton High School. We made it. But first, I would like to welcome Superintendent Dr. Marcus, Deputy Superintendent Mr. Ford, school committee, administrators, faculty, parents and guests, and of course, the graduates of the class of 2020. Thank you all for being here today and supporting us through this journey. Throughout these past few weeks, I've been struggling to write this speech. I've given many speeches to you all before, but this time feels different. I wanted my speech to be unique, and for you all to remember my last words to you here at SHS. Little did I know, the words were right there, in my camera roll, looking at pictures of you all, our school, and the many community events. We have all grown up together and been through so much that has brought us closer. It's then that I realized the most unique and memorable thing I could possibly write about is us. To start, we are the first to ever graduate from this new school. The first to get lost in the B and C buildings. I still don't know the difference. The first to have a virtual graduation because of a global pandemic, and so much more. These unique circumstances make our class one of a kind and prove how much we support each other. For the senior group picture last fall, the Cashins kindly donated t-shirts designed by Cam Smith to the entire class. We managed to hand out all 272 shirts in just one morning. I remember feeling so overwhelmed the day before the senior picture was scheduled. The shirts were still sitting in boxes at my house, but everyone came together to help. We had volunteers, whether they were a part of student council or not, come to school early that morning to carry the heavy boxes from my car into the school and hand the shirts out to every senior. In other words, when it really comes down to it, we are here for each other and always will be. Finally, I would like to highlight some memories that truly embody how unforgettable the class of 2020 really is. We all remember Colby Manning stealing the show at Oscar night, or Megan McKenna's mom, who performed and raised $15,000 for our class. JC and Cara Perry newly formed the Environmental Action Club that will remain at SHS even after we graduate for the future nights. And Hannah Stanley, who made sure every senior felt the community love through the Adopt a Senior group. The class of 2020 stands out because of our character, the impact we've had on this school and our community, and simply because we are the best. Although we are graduating today and life as we know it will never be the same, Stoughton will always be a place we can come back to and call home. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2020. Please welcome Leah Rose Sages, Vice President of the senior class.
Hello and good morning, family and friends. I hope all is well. My name is Leah Rose, and I'm the Vice President of the class of 2020. First, I'd like to thank Superintendent Dr. Marcus, Deputy Superintendent Mr. Ford, the school committee, administrators, faculty, parents and guests, and last but not least, the graduate class of 2020. Most of us have been together for the past 4 years, some even longer than that, and the few that have joined us along the way. I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you for your commitment and perseverance throughout the years. Good or bad, long or short, the school holds memories that we will never forget. Movies and popular culture create a stigma that varsity athletes and mean girls run the halls rampant in high school. I don't think that applies here. Sure, sports are a huge part of high school culture, but there's more to it than that. Each of us make up a part of something bigger, and that is a community we call Stoughton High. Whether you're involved in the beautiful productions our art department put on, or in the weight room preparing to put up a good fight, maybe even after school in the library working hard, you matter, and you helped create a safe space for others without even realizing. Thank you to the janitors that spent their time making sure our school was kept beautiful. Thank you to each and every consigliere construction worker that helped create and build the home of the Black Knights. A special thanks to the guidance department for doing their best to make us feel supported and heard. I cannot express my appreciation enough for the parents for all the hours of volunteering and donations. To the graduate class, you've made it this far, and you should be proud of yourselves, because I am, and so are the other officers. I'd like to wish you all luck in your post-high school endeavors, because I know you're all going to go on and do amazing things. Thank you. I'd like to call up to the stage the Valedictorian of the class of 2020.
Hello, class of 2020, families of the class of 2020, teachers, administrators, and the Stoughton community. Class of 2020, we made it. It is so good to be here with all of you today. Oh wait, it is so good to be broadcasted to all of you today. First off, I want to thank my family and friends for supporting me throughout my life. I want to thank my teachers for challenging me and pushing me to be the best that I can be. Finally, thank you to the SHS, administration, the school committee, and the Superintendent, Dr. Marcus, for supporting us and making this graduation possible. I know this graduation and end of senior year is not what we pictured, but each graduate should still feel accomplished of all the hard work you have put in for the past 13 years. Growing up in Stoughton and attending the Jones, the South Elementary School, and OMS, I've been lucky enough to get to know so many members of our class. Even though we are not all together right now, we still have so many memories that will last a lifetime. From transitioning from the old to the new high school, the class of 2020 knows best that the company that surrounds us means so much more than the location we are at. Sure, I remember the creaky floors and the lack of AC in the old building, but I hold more vivid memories of the sports games, dances, pep rallies, clubs, and my favorite classes. I will remember the life lessons our teachers taught, the support they gave, and even the times they called me by my sister's name. Still, these memories will forever make me laugh and appreciate the Stoughton High community. Now, the valedictorian is supposed to say something funny and inspirational. It is a little awkward to be funny when you don't have a live audience and can't even get a pity laugh from my parents. So instead, I would like to share my senior quote for inspiration. To be honest, I almost forgot about the yearbook deadline and picked a random quote like an hour before it was due. This may not come as a surprise to my teachers and classmates who know me as one to turn in an assignment at 11:59, the day it's due. But despite my last-minute selection, I found my chosen quote to still have a powerful meaning. Quoting Christopher Robin, "You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." The class of 2020 has been through a lot that has shown our bravery and persistence more than we could ever have imagined. Born during the time of 9/11, ending elementary school with the Boston Marathon bombing, growing through the middle school and high school when school shootings became normalized, undergoing the deaths of our beautiful schoolmates, and now graduating during the coronavirus pandemic. I thought we were only going to be known as the class that graduated from the new high school, but there is so much more to our class's legacy. With all these hardships, we have adapted, persisted, and grew closer as a class. We are all braver than we believed. Now, when I read Stronger Than You Seem, I immediately think of the athletic teams that I have been a part of at Stoughton High School. Thank you to the girls' soccer team, Coach Daniels, Coach McShay, and Coach Crimmins. As a lot of people know, girls' soccer has not had the best record in the past. But that only made us grow stronger and work harder. This season, we got our first win in the past 4 years, but even better than the wins, our chemistry and support for each other grew even stronger than we ever would have thought. This is the same support I have felt with my class. It seems like we could never catch a break, but our support for one another only grew stronger. As we all go our separate ways, I will search to find a community that replicates the strength and support that I found at Stoughton High School. I also found an infinite amount of strength in the track team. Thank you to my coaches, co-captains, and teammates for pushing me to be better. For the past 3 years, we didn't even have a track, but our team still accomplished a lot. The boys went from winning a couple meets to now Hockomock champions, division champions, and many athletes even went to compete at higher levels. As for the girls, we also won some meets, but more importantly, many athletes set personal goals and achieved them. Even though bigger goals appear more fulfilling, setting smaller ones are essential to making progress on the track and in life. At the beginning of the season, Coach Ba had us pick an inspirational word to represent this season, and it was determination. I will take this word as inspiration for the rest of my life, and I challenge each one of the graduates to do so as well. I am so sad that we did not get our spring season to show how far determination could take us. Whether you set academic, life, career, or athletic goals, I hope your determination leads you to achieve them. We are stronger than we seem. Now, as we move on to our different paths of life, I believe we will all find that we are smarter than we think. During high school, one of the more challenging courses that I have taken was AP Chemistry. The first couple tests did not go so well, but with more studying, more time after school, and finding new study techniques, I found myself improving and really enjoying some topics. I ended up enjoying some topics so much that they really inspired me to go into the STEM field. Although the class was hard, thank you, Ms. Sasson, for always believing in your students. As we face inevitable challenges, we can always turn to the people we trust and look up to for support and guidance. Whether you're going to college, trade school, the military, taking a gap year, entering the workforce, or taking another path, I hope you will find what you are passionate about and excel at it, as we are all smarter than we think. As my final overall message, take your bravery, strength, and intelligence wherever you may go, and use what you learn to make the world around you a better place. Now, more than ever, is the time to use your voices and stand up for what's right. This would be better if we were all here, but always remember, who runs the show? 2020. And what a great show it was. Congratulations, class of 2020. We made it. I would like to now welcome Salutatorian Victoria Silverman.
Hello and welcome to everyone on the other side of the screen, though I'm not entirely sure who you all are. And while I'm at it, hello to myself, who is now awkwardly watching this too. I am your class salutatorian, and if you don't really know what that means, I recommend that you ask Mr. Gorman. I would first like to begin by thanking those who have helped me along the way. Thank you to my family, teachers, and friends for pushing me outside of my comfort zone, molding me into who I am today, and believing in me when I did not believe in myself. Thank you to my entire Step Up family for always supporting me and having my back. Thank you to the soccer team for cheering me on no matter how long it took me to finish those runs. And lastly, thank you to everyone who has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to do whatever they can for the senior class. I would not be where I am now without each and every one of you. Today is an exciting day. It's our high school graduation. Unless you're me, then it's Monday, but I'll just pretend. Just like how I used to pretend that there was AC in the old school on 90-degree days, but that never helped. When I first began to write this speech, all I could think of was the elephant in the room. Of course, there are about 2 people in the room I'm in now, but you get the point. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first heard about everything going on regarding the coronavirus, I wasn't all that sad. In fact, I was a bit relieved. A little time off from school, sleeping in every day, staying in my pajamas, it didn't seem too bad. I thought to myself, hey, this 2-week break from school is just what I needed right now. Those 2 weeks turned into 2 more weeks, and then another month, and eventually the rest of the school year. Some of us suddenly became essential workers, some of us live with healthcare heroes, and some of us even have lost a loved one during this time. But it's fair to say that we've all had our lives turned upside down. I remember complaining about how we were going to have to graduate in the gym. I take that back now. Although we spent our last couple of months apart at home, we also had 3.5 years together and 2 Stoughton high schools that we should not forget about. Whether it was the dreaded walk up to A4th to not knowing if we're in the B or C building, we have gone through it all together. We have entered a new decade, waited outside the school in the middle of the night just for a parking spot, gone to Stonehill for home games, eaten countless Hilliard's chocolate bars because, hey, they're only $2. We have dominated in our last pep rally. Additionally, some of Little Women was filmed in Stoughton. The town got a brand new public library, and the Patriots won 2 more Super Bowls, all while we were in high school. That's pretty good. But more importantly, we have persevered, we have learned from one another, and we have come together. We don't need one brick building holding us all in one place to call ourselves a class. We are a class of change. How many of us woke up any given Monday morning and wished that we didn't have to go to school that day, or counted down the days until we were out of here? How many of those days did we take for granted? How many of us thought that we could beat senioritis, but then after hearing that our grades wouldn't be lowered, gave in? How many of us thought that March 13th would be our last normal school day, and now have regrets about not waving to someone in the hallway, knowing that we might never see those people again? This may not be a traditional high school graduation, but that does not make it any less significant. And so this is the advice I have for you today as we go on our separate paths. Do not fear change, do not hold back, let nothing define you. In a world where not a single thing is guaranteed, 2020 has reminded us all that life is always changing in unpredictable ways. So control what you can, and don't be discouraged when nothing goes as planned. As my favorite poet, or should I say only poet that I truly like, Robert Frost would say, in 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Do not be disappointed by the senior year we thought we lost, but instead remember what we have been lucky enough to have. Defy the odds. If you ever begin to fear failure, remember that life does in fact always go on. I failed a test or 2 thanks to physics and calculus. I broke a test tube in my first lab of 9th grade biology class, and I lost not 1, not 2, but 3 elections, all while in high school, yet here I am. Be proud to be a graduate of the Stoughton High School class of 2020. I know a lot of you may think that this only entails a small piece of paper called a diploma, but hey, let's not forget about those lawn signs too. In my final words, I want to remind you that there is no obstacle too big. You can take on anything, and always keep some extra toilet paper stashed away because you never know what's going to happen next. To the class of 2020, I wish you all the best in the future. Congratulations, and thank you. I would now like to welcome the chairperson of the school committee, Ms. Sandra Gropey.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to say that I am honored to have been given the opportunity to present this speech. I know this is not the traditional graduation ceremony that you were expecting when you started your senior year. You had pictured all your friends and family watching from the crowd, cheering you on as you walked across the stage. And here we are, celebrating your success with the entire town watching and cheering you on from home. So, to that I say, way to go, Stoughton High School class of 2020. The town of Stoughton couldn't be prouder of you. You have been through different obstacles over the past few years. You're a class of strong, passionate, and resilient human beings. Recent months have been challenging, and I know it's been hard to end your senior year short. But despite all of that, you have banded together to support each other and not let this take away from your extraordinary accomplishments. Many, many years ago, I was listening to a speech, and there was a phrase that stuck with me throughout my career. The speaker said that if you want to grow, you must get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I remember walking away and just thinking about what that meant and decided that I would put myself out there and hopefully tackle my fears. One example of that is public speaking. Not my strong suit. I tell you this because you are all creative and smart in many ways. So I ask that you be true to yourself and don't be afraid to take risks and make mistakes. Life is a series of lessons learned and opportunities. If you do not put yourself out there, you will never know your full potential. So whether you're going into the workforce, college, enlisted to serve our country, or whatever path you've chosen, take the risk. Don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your experiences. Give that speech or ride that roller coaster or whatever it is. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Pursue your passion and know that you're worth it. In closing, I'd like to quote the famous Dr. Seuss from a book called Oh, the Places You Will Go. Kid, you'll move mountains. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you again, and I wish you luck, health, and happiness. Congratulations, class of 2020. And now, please welcome to the podium Sarah Doherty, the President of Student Council.
Superintendent Dr. Marcus, Deputy Superintendent Mr. Ford, school committee, administrators, faculty, parents and guests, and graduates of the class of 2020. We gather here today in honor of the accomplishments, progression, and dedication of this year's Stoughton High senior class. Each decade throughout history is defined by the changing trends, politics, music, and social norms. If we look back in time, we see distinguishing factors that make every 10 years remarkably unique. Take a look at the 1920s, defined by jazz music, flappers, and free spirit, or the 80s, known for rock music and colorful clothing. We, as a class, have spent the majority of our conscious lives thriving in the 2010s. Our class contains a variety of people with a plethora of backgrounds, but one thing we all share is growing up in an age of connection through social media. Through technology, we have learned, shared our memories, and expressed ideas, joining our generation in a way that has never been seen before. We have lived through monumental times in history, helping to shape us into who we are and how our future will be. Our teenage years were filled with self-made music artists, up-and-coming technology, and iconic sports moments. Many of these may have slipped to the back of your memory, and many of these things you might wish you never have to remember. Let's reminisce. The first Instagram post was made July 10th, 2010. In 2011, Rebecca Black released her unfortunate song, Friday. The world ended in 2012. In 2013, we graduated from 5th grade and made our way to the middle school. In 2014, Kim and Kanye got married. The first woman announced her intent to run for president in a major political party in 2015. In 2016, Drake gave everyone an iconic summer after releasing his album, Views. In 2017, Josh Peck didn't invite Drake Bell to his wedding. In 2018, Boston was yet again spoiled when both the Patriots and Red Sox became champions. In 2019, we said goodbye to the building that held all of our high school memories and walked through the doors of what would become our new home. Although we all love the feeling of nostalgia associated with our past memories, I'm here today to remind us, the class of 2020, our infinite ability to shape the decade ahead of us. Each one of us has the potential to become a part of these unforgettable moments as we take our first steps into the world in front of us. To everyone working on their music or art during this time, to those working hard to stay in shape at home for a college sport, and to anyone eager and excited for the future, continue to manifest your success. It is our dedication, our contribution, and our passion that will create the legacy that will define the 2020 decade for the rest of time. Just like Tom Brady has on the Patriots, the class of 2020 has made our mark on the Stoughton community and are now preparing to venture into the next chapter of our lives. I hope that as we ready ourselves to shape the next decade, we never forget where we came from. Let the unique blend of people and experiences that Stoughton has brought us guide us to move forward with compassion in order to fill the future with progress. Thank you so much to my parents, brother, and closest friends, Hannah and Julia, for guiding me through this chapter of my life. On behalf of the entire class of 2020, we will forever appreciate everything the teachers, administration, and the great Stoughton community has done for us as we set out to define the next decade. Please welcome Principal Miller back to the podium.
In a typical year, class night is held on the Tuesday before graduation. Due to the circumstances this year, we have worked to include those honors usually bestowed on that evening within this ceremony. Several awards, including scholarships, have been noted in the graduation slides of our seniors, which will follow the speeches. There are two awards that I would like to present to you now, the Stoughton High School Achievement Medals and the Golden Knight Awards. The Stoughton High School Achievement Medals date back to at least 1983 by our records. They are a long-standing tradition and honor. Each academic department at Stoughton High School has chosen an outstanding senior in their area of study for this prestigious award. These certificates will be given to each named graduate with their diploma. In visual art, Cameron Smith. Business technology, Jennifer Batista. Drama and TV, Julia Ortiz. English, Abigail Langmead. Social Studies, Emma McSweeney. Instrumental music, Jacob Kang. Journalism, Annalise Fleming. Mathematics, Joshua McNamara. Natural and Applied Science, Juliana Rush. Physical Education, Savian Scott and Madison Arujo. Vocal Music, Alexia Thomas. World Language, Juliana Lafredo. 2020 marks the 26th anniversary of the Golden Knight Awards, established to honor members of the graduating class who have demonstrated outstanding qualities of character, leadership, and service to the school community. Each year, members of the staff are asked to nominate seniors who deserve recognition for their service and commitment, as well as for their exemplary personal qualities. The teachers and administrators serving on this year's Golden Knight Committee had a difficult time choosing 5 finalists from a list of truly outstanding nominees. But we know that you will agree that the class of 2020's Golden Knights embody some of the best qualities and represent some of the finest traditions at Stoughton High School. Once again, the Stoughton Cooperative Bank has underwritten the cost of the trophies and plaques. Presentation of the Golden Knight Awards is usually a highlight of class night, and we are grateful for Stoughton Cooperative's continuing support. Thank you, Mr. Louis Fortina, President. And now it gives me great pleasure to present the 2020 Golden Knight recipients. Mr. Christopher Evans of the School Counseling Department describes the first recipient of this year's Golden Knight Award as a picture of perseverance. Mr. Joseph Fontina of the Fine Arts Department writes, "Always kind, always polite, with a $1 million smile." After one of our first classes, he approached me and asked if we had an after-school art club. You had to know this Golden Knight Award recipient to see and hear him. It was at that moment that the art club was born, and I basically told him we would start the following week. Since then, he is considered art club royalty, and the club and the friendships I have seen him forge have developed earnestly. To know this Golden Knight Award recipient is truly to love him. He is that rare kid that has a team of people rooting for him, and he may not even know it. His talent is only rivaled by his humility, and there have been many days that it was he that made my day. A reservoir of quiet resilience is how Mr. Key Argambar of the Alternative Education Department describes this Golden Knight Award recipient. Mr. Argambar continues, He is compassionate towards all people. Though I am saddened that we cannot gather around and celebrate with a handshake and a hug at this time, I am grateful as he reminds us through example that the most important things in life are the simplest of things. A kind inquiry, a parting smile, a shared game of Uno, and the empathy to genuinely care for those around you. Perhaps there hasn't been a better time to be reminded. This award could not be more deserving. Thank you, Terry. Terry Elseem. The second recipient of the Golden Knight Award was nominated by 3 members of the faculty. He has always presented the perfect combination of diligence and intelligence, with a tremendous amount of humility and politeness as well, writes Mr. William Gorman of the World Language Department. His persistence, ability, personality, and continued success make him an ideal candidate for the Golden Knight Award. Mr. Bill Horan of the Physical Education Department adds, he is an extremely respectful student and student-athlete, setting high standards of character for peers around him. He has many successes as a student-athlete, but always displays a character of humility and respect when recognized for these accomplishments. Mr. Christopher Evans of the School Counseling Department also nominated this student. He takes on a professional approach to all of his undertakings, whether it is in the classroom, on the track, or in the community. His work ethic is undeniable, but I firmly believe what sets him apart is that he makes everything look so natural. He is no stranger to spending late nights working on projects, long hours at the gym, and never shies away from going the extra mile. Evan never complains. He simply accepts that in order to achieve greatness, he must commit to being great and has fun doing it. Evan Connor. Miss Candace Camo of the Business and Technology Department nominated the third Golden Knight Award recipient. She is generous to her community and contributes through the compassion she shows to her classmates and fierce loyalty that she demonstrates to her friends. She shows grit and personifies that persistence pays off. Miss Hilary Mall of the English Department writes, "One of her greatest attributes is her curiosity to learn. She juggled long hours of extra study and the stress of adapting to a new culture and language, but she persevered and discovered she had a resilience she could share with others. She actively sought out ways to get involved in her school and her community beyond the classroom. In 3 short years, she has managed to successfully learn a new language, culture, and climate, while developing deep relationships within her community. She always had a smile on her face, even during the toughest times." Mrs. Lauren Fiddler, also of the English Department, adds, "She is incredibly mature, poised, and present with a desire to learn. She sees all of us for our best selves and what we can be. She wants us to be the good she sees in us. I don't know one student or one teacher who has not been made better by their interactions with this Golden Knight Award recipient. She is kind, she is driven, she is empathetic, and she is diligent. Ingrid is a great student, athlete, and human. A perfect Golden Knight. Ingrid Santos Lima." Miss Jamie Regan of the History Department describes the 4th Golden Knight Award recipient as ambitious, independent, dedicated, and driven. She is by far one of the hardest working students that I've ever met, always smiling and respectful. She rarely takes credit for all she does, but rather prefers to lift up her peers and help them achieve alongside of her. She is one of the finest young women that I've seen walk the halls of Stoughton High School, mature beyond her years. Kind, caring, and confident are words that Miss Terry Krogan, Stoughton High School's peer mediation coordinator, used to describe this Golden Knight Award recipient. Her warmth draws people in, creating a safe place for trust, dialogue, and problem solving. Her work as a peer mediator and a promoter of conflict resolution has been outstanding. Mr. Ryan Donahue, Stoughton's athletic director, writes, "She has been one of the most genuine and dependable student athletes I have had the opportunity to work with over the last 4 years. This Golden Knight Award recipient has not had a traditional path for a high school student. She has encountered and overcome high levels of adversity that some people may not face in a lifetime, all while striving to accomplish her lofty personal goals as an individual and teammate. In my eyes, Julia's character defines what a Golden Knight truly is." Julia Ortiz. Miss Kim Kellogg of the Mathematics Department describes the final Golden Knight recipient as a pleasure to have in class. Always smiling, she is kind-hearted and a quiet but delightful presence that fills up the classroom. Ms. Lauren Fiddler of the English Department adds, "She is a compelling writer and thinker, a devoted reader, and a true pleasure to have in class. She has a combination of intelligence, curiosity, compassion, and concern. She is confident, poised, and an active member of the school community." Ms. Deirdre Chapman, also of the English Department, describes this Golden Knight as capable, eloquent, and mature. "She's one of the most creative, intelligent, hardworking students I have ever met. I am so proud of her for challenging herself. My wish is for her to see what everyone else sees in her: kindness, intelligence, creativity, empathy, determination, and etiquette. She is an amazing student and deserving of a Golden Knight Award." Miss Melanie Ingrao of the History Department writes, "What struck me most about the Golden Knight Award recipient was not just how conscientious and mature she was, but rather how grounded she was in who she is. Harley is never anyone other than Harley. She is effortlessly cool because she never tries to be anyone other than herself, and I love that about her." The final Golden Knight Award goes to Harley Souza. Please welcome Yearbook editors Julia Ortiz, Alyssa Hutchinson, and Abigail Cashian for the Yearbook dedication.
Hello, class of 2020, and congratulations on making it to this day. This year, the yearbook team had 3 editors, myself, Julia, and Alyssa. Together, along with the rest of the yearbook staff, we worked hard to the very last deadline to get this yearbook done.
As we are entering the next chapter of our lives and making big choices that'll shape our future, we wanted to capture the moments that we spent at SHS. We chose the theme, The Pieces of the Future, just to represent that. A puzzle has many pieces that you put together to reveal the final picture. Throughout our 4 years of high school, you have connected those pieces to lead you where you are today, graduation. We hope that you can look back on your high school yearbook and remember some of the great memories that the class of 2020 shared while we pieced together our futures. Unfortunately, our year got cut due to COVID-19. However, we try to make the best of the yearbook by making it complete as possible. Just because we aren't together doesn't mean that these moments don't need to be captured. Thanks to your submissions, we were able to alter pages to show just how amazing the class of 2020 is handling this pandemic. Please keep in mind that this is a student-made yearbook and mistakes will be made. We apologize in advance if there's anything missing, spelling mistakes, or grammar mistakes. Understand that there's a lot of components to making a yearbook, and sometimes we may miss a few details despite our efforts not to.
We want to give a huge thank you to Mr. Stansfield for being our yearbook advisor this year. Also, thank you, Ms. Riley, for always answering our questions and helping us when we needed to. Thank you to Mrs. Jolly for giving us photos when we needed. Lastly, thank you to Ms. Bronis and all the administration for always helping us getting emails out to the school.
Once again, congrats to the class of 2020. Please welcome Dr. Marcus, Superintendent of Schools, for a few remarks.
Good morning. Members of the school committee, Principal Miller, faculty, and staff of Stoughton High School, the Stoughton Public Schools, families, friends, and graduates of the class of 2020. Congratulations on reaching this important moment. When we started the year, we began with the theme of new beginnings. So many things were new and fresh and exciting. For you, the building, senior year, new classes, and lots more. For me, a whole new school system, thousands of new faces, and so much excitement for what we could do together. There was so much that was laid out for us. It seemed like the choices we needed to make were pretty clear. Work hard, participate fully, give back, prepare for the future. In the beginning of the year, I used the metaphor of a garden. Teachers were the farmers, and the garden was the schools we hoped to have. In the same way, you seniors were also the gardeners, tending your crops as you have done for 12 or 13 years. And they were just about to bloom. Your harvest awaits. In New Beginnings, we have the opportunity to step back and examine the garden. Look for the patches of beauty, but also find the places that have gone dormant or are getting overgrown with weeds. As I wrote this speech on my porch, looking out over my front yard, I was listening to a song by one of my favorite bands. In a serendipitous moment, they sang a song called Sprig. It's about a little sprig of clover trying to grow and rise in a very uncertain world. In thinking about that little clover, looking at my own patches of clover in the garden in front of me, I realized that at the end of the year, we all are having to make choices that are far less certain than when we began the year. A sprig of clover. It's small and tentative and susceptible, but it's also humble, resilient, and lucky. It thrives in a collective amongst its family and friends. Together, they are stronger. And it may be small and simple, but clovers have survived for hundreds of thousands of years by being creative, adaptable, and, well, lucky. The odds of finding a 4-leaf clover are 10,000 to 1, and a 5-leaf clover are 1,000,000 to 1. But there are millions of clovers in the yard in front of me, so the possibility of me finding one is increased by hard work, patience, and skill. We call that combination tenacity. Sure, we might find a 4-leaf clover on a glance, but if we wait for luck to hand the clover to us, we may wait forever. On the other hand, if we put in the time and don't give up, we're pretty likely to find it. Be tenacious. Don't wait for someone to come and make your life better. Push, struggle, sweat, take risks, and then struggle some more. Atticus Finch, leaning in close to Jem, explains his own tenaciousness. He says, "It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and you see it through no matter what." When I found success in high school, writing a great paper, or overcoming fear to sing in front of my whole senior class, or finally getting my driver's license. Yeah, it was my senior year. My mom would say, "See, God helps those who help themselves." Of course, she'd always use that line when I wanted something she wanted me to work for and not just be handed. But her lesson was about making our own luck. It takes tenacious practice. Practice. Many of you know about this. Athletes, performers, test takers, healthcare workers, you've had to start at decent and push and try and refine and get to that higher plane of excellence. And believe me, at my age, learning how to be a better writer or leader or listener or teacher every day, life is in the process, the hard work, not the medal at the end of the race. There's always another race tomorrow. So, here we are at the end of the year of new beginnings, and our challenge is to find that lucky clover. It's out there, and the chances of finding it may be even more uncertain than ever. We each have the power, the talent, the knowledge, and the potential partners all around us to make that luck happen. Be tenacious. Don't give up. The choices laid out for us in September haven't changed. The world has, but our collective mission remains the same. Work hard, participate fully, give back, prepare for the future. As I've been saying all spring, we've got this, Knights. Stoughton has given each of us special gifts of knowledge, understanding, friends, or potential partners, and a place to call home. I'm grateful to you all for welcoming me into your home in this very special but very unique year. Class of 2020, you provided me with amazing moments of pride in you this year. Brilliantly blocked goals, tremendous baskets, power runs on the pitch, high notes and low notes on the stage, spun words, dancing, and of course discussing and debating in class. I'll never forget you, and with your tenacity and hard work, I'm sure you will grow into that mighty oak tree, giving back to the world for years to come. You are a Black Knight, always will be, and I thank you for how you will make the world a better place. In times of uncertainty, find strength in your connections, your families, in whatever form they may take, your friends, your teachers and mentors, and your community. We've all been here in some way to help you get to this day, so turn to us when the difficulties of life threaten to curb your growth. Be you, be well, be kind, and be tenacious. You've got this, Knights. Congratulations. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. May I present to you the class of 2020.